In the concept video you just watched, you learned that we have some data structure called an array, which is kind of the foundational, kind of a ground level entry point to data structures themselves. And in a lot of coding languages, arrays are used a lot, and they're kind of the foundation of everything else, built right into the language. But what we're going to see in this video is that in Python, arrays are kind of avoided. They're not even actually built into the basic Python library. We have to import them from an external source. And a lot of Python coders don't use them at all. And actually, I'm going to recommend that you don't either. But just for the sake of being thorough, I want to cover them really quick, just so you kind of see what's going on. What are arrays? They're homogeneous, and this is the thing about them that sets them apart from everything else we'll be doing in Python. Homogeneous meaning they have the same type of data in them. In the next video, you're going to see that Python list structures allow for any type of data to be put into them and mix and match in different ways. Which, if you're planning on sending a rocket ship to the moon, or if you're planning on making somebody's life-saving heart device, you might not want there to be any possibility of data confusion. So you might want to enforce a single data type with something like an array. However, for the stuff that we'll be making in this course, we can be more flexible and just work with the general, more natively supported sets of lists and like-minded things. However, arrays are also contiguous, meaning their data is stored side by side, an important concept in data management that if you study something like C++ or C or any of the older languages, you'll come to really appreciate. But anyway, enough about that. How do we work with arrays in Python? We have to import the array module, and then we can assign to a variable an array type thing, and then we're running this array method that actually builds an array for us. And then we have to define what type of data goes into it. Because it's homogeneous, so we have to tell Python we only want to accept a certain type of thing. And you can see other options in the Python docs for different size management of lots of different types of integers you can accept, or characters, or decimal value floats. Those are so you're kind of limited in terms of options. So let's head back in here. I've defined this as including integers, and then I pre-populated it with a nice list of numbers, 1 to 5. Let's see what happens when I print this out here. Numbers printed out, and you'll see that it comes out with extra bit of information about the type and the numbers inside of it. So even accessing these arrays later requires us to do a little bit of making sure that we're accessing the right slot, but at least I know this only accepts numbers. How do I know that for sure? If I try to add by appending a word like hello, I'm going to get an error. An integer is required. The other types of Python data management systems are going to allow us to append a string to a number array, no problem. But arrays limit us in this regard. So what if I just append a 6 to this and run it again? I see the 6 was added at the end. Wonderful. Arrays, super cool, really useful computer science concepts to know, but for the practical purposes of this course, don't use them. See you in the next video for the types of things you are going to be using.